Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Corner, and welcome to this horror franchise ranking and wrap up video as part of my June horror series, where I took a look at all the Psycho movies, the Psycho franchise. I have those individual reviews up on my channel. So we've reached the end, and what we're going to do today is basically summarize my feelings on this franchise, which is going to include, as the other horror franchises that I reviewed have, a ranking video from my least favorite to my favorite, or worst to best, if you will. I prefer least favorite to favorite, if you know me. So it's going to include the six films that I have individual reviews for up on my channel. And you might say six films. Where are you getting six from? Well, I did the first four Psycho movies and then the remake. And then I also included the 1987 made for TV movie Bates Motel. So those are the six movies that we're going to review. So I'm going to do that, or rank, I should say. I'm going to do that first, and then I'll give you my overall thoughts about this franchise. So, coming in at number six, which might be a little controversial to begin with when you consider all the six films that I'm including here. But my least favorite has to be the 1998 Gus Van Sant remake of Psycho. Just such a pointless movie. It just serves no purpose. The few little differences that they did in this movie compared to the original actually made the story worse. The character's less sympathetic. In the case of Norman Bates, especially. But it's a shot for shot, camera angle from camera angle, word for word, dialogue to dialogue remake with nothing. The only difference is it's in color, basically, and yeah, it just does nothing for me. It's hard to envisioning myself watching this movie again because I have a better version of it with the original movie. So that's why it has to come in number six. Is it the worst made movie on this list? Probably not. There's probably another movie that's worsely made than this one, but this one's just the most unrewatchable for me. And like I said, the most pointless. So that puts it into last place. I think I gave it a 5 out of 10 on my individual review for this movie. So yeah, coming in at number six, the Psycho remake. Coming in at number five is probably the movie many people would think would be at number six, considering the six movies I'm including. And that's going to be the made for TV 1987 film Bates Motel with Bud Cort and Lori Petty. But I did give this film a slightly higher rating than the remake. I think I gave it 6 out of 10, if I'm not mistaken. This movie's got a lot of problems. Obviously, it's made for TV, so like I said, the budget's obviously not as it's not as well made as the Psycho remake. But I could probably see myself rewatching it before the Psycho remake, although it'll probably be on YouTube because I'm probably going to go ahead and sell this four movie pack since I have the three movies that I really want on Blu-ray, Scream Factory. So but yeah, this movie, I kind of give it the benefit of the doubt too, because it was trying to be the pilot for a possible TV show, weekly anthology series. I could kind of see where they were going with it. It sort of had a purpose, which the remake didn't, in my opinion. Now, that being said, they really missed the mark on what they were trying to do, which is why the network, I'm sure, didn't pick it up, led by these two main characters here. Not strong characters. This movie's just kind of a mess. It's like three different movies in one. Made for TV, although as I said in my review, it's not the worst made for TV movie I've ever seen. Like I said, I could see what they were going, and I did enjoy the first story, the anthology story for this pilot, and that was the best part of this movie. But that being said, it still can't rank any higher than this. So Bates Motel from 1987, my number five on my cycle ranking videos. So now we get into the top four, which are pretty obvious what they're going to be. I think there's a big separation from the first two, or the my least favorite two, to where we're going to start now, or where we're going to go now, I should say. So coming at number four is going to be Psycho 4, The Beginning. Yeah, I generally enjoy this movie. I thought it was interesting. I'm not completely crazy about all the prequel stuff. I do enjoy the sequel side more, though, and where they take Norman Bates's character and ultimately where he ends up at the end of this movie. Of course, this was Anthony Perkins' final film as this character, so that kind of props it up a little bit too. It's fairly entertaining. This was also a made for TV, although not made for network TV. It was made for, I believe, Showtime in 1990. But it was a nice revisit of the franchise after a 4 year hiatus from the previous movie. Um, and for a made for even Showtime movie, I thought the quality was good, and has some continuity issues with it. Like I said, some of the, especially with some of the prequel stuff, I wasn't crazy about. But overall, it's an entertaining movie that I could not have a hard time putting on. It's an easy watch, and yeah, Psycho 4: The Beginning is my number four. I really enjoy it. Coming in at number three, and you're going to notice a pattern here, but coming at number three is Psycho 3 from 1986. This movie gets shit on a lot by people. I can kind of understand why, but I find this movie highly entertaining. Um, yeah, it's just a really enjoyable movie. I don't think Anthony Perkins' is strongest performance as the character, but he's still really good for, in my opinion. He directed this movie; he had a lot on his plate, but I just enjoy the characters, especially Norman, of course, as well as Duke. Dwayne is really entertaining in this movie. You know, some of the storylines that they set up don't really go anywhere, so that's kind of disappointing. And this is more of a true '80s slasher movie, of probably the biggest slasher movie of the entire Psycho franchise. So, but I say, what's wrong with that? I enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. The kills are good. The ending's a little bit disappointing. Well, not the very, very ending, but like those storylines that get set up and then basically just pushed out the window, if you will, is a little disappointing. I wish they could have stuck the landing a little bit better on those, especially as it relates to a nun character that we get. But and they do try a little too hard to make this like the original Psycho movie. But like I said, I could put this on anytime. It's highly enjoyable, highly entertaining. I really enjoy Psycho 3. It's definitely one of the better Psycho movies. So number three, Psycho 3. Um, number two, you probably won't be surprised to know that it's Psycho 2, the wonderful sequel to the original, which took place 23 years later. I love Psycho 2. It's probably actually the movie that would probably be, if I were ranking these on a scare factor, it's probably the one that's the scariest to me. Just in terms of the music and some of the shots and Anthony Perkins' performance. He rivals his performance of the first movie, and it might even be better just from the simple fact that he's in this entire movie. Where in the first movie, we weren't really introduced to him until the second third of the movie. He wasn't even in the first third of the original Psycho. But yeah, this movie's fantastic. The kills are really good. The mystery involved here is really good. The characters, both good and bad, are really, really well done in this movie. I think it picks up at a good and interesting place at Norman Bates's life here, having been in prison basically or in an asylum for 22 years, and now he's getting out, and he really is trying to make the best of it and to start anew. And it doesn't quite work out the way that he thought when he got out, but this is a fantastic movie. Definitely one of the best horror sequels of all time, especially when given the fact how many years were between that this came after the original movie. So, yeah, Psycho 2, what can you say? It rivals my number one movie in this franchise. Um, but of course, you probably know by now, number one, my favorite movie in this franchise, and it's one of my favorite horror movies and movies, period, is Alfred Hitchcock's original 1960 Psycho, with Janet Leigh and Anthony Perkins. What can you say about this movie that hasn't been said? It's wonderfully acted, wonderfully shot, directed. It's got really good suspense and tension, one of the great twists and shocking moments of all time. Um, as I said in my review, the only thing I don't like about this movie is the psychiatrist's exposition dump that we get at the end of the movie. But as I said before, and I'll say again, I understand why it was there. In 1960, I think audiences needed more explanation than they would probably from the 70s on, I would say. So, but other than that, it's a fantastic movie. Everything from how it starts with her character that leads into meeting him and what happens with him going forward. I just can't praise this movie enough. It's one of my top 10 movies of all time, and certainly one of my top five favorite horror movies of all time. The original Psycho. So yeah, guys, that's how I rank these six films here. As far as my overall thoughts about here, I don't want the remake to be the one that shows as I hold these up. Um, as I said about this entire franchise, I really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite horror franchises, particularly the first four movies. I threw in the remake and the made-for-TV movie just to have more of a ranking and more of a franchise here. Um, I do often wonder if there would have been a fifth movie with Anthony Perkins had he not gotten sick and passed away, but maybe not. Maybe they decided that where they left things in Psycho 4, that was a good place for the character. But I really love the first four movies. I think they rival any four movies in horror franchise history because the first movie is iconic. The second movie is the most underrated, one of the best horror sequels. The third movie is a highly entertaining horror sequel that really holds up and I would say outperforms a lot of other franchises' third sequels. And the fourth movie is a really interesting and entertaining watch again, kind of looking back at the beginning, but also the conclusion, if you will. I think they work very well. The remake, not a fan of. It's pointless. And as I said, the Bates Motel movie, I just kind of threw in um, to see whether or not to keep. Where did it go now? Whether or not I wanted to keep this particular horror pack. Um, and I hadn't visited it for a long time. So that's basically why I threw it in. It's okay, but I'll watch it on YouTube if I ever have the interest in checking it out again, which I really don't see myself doing for a while, if ever. But yeah, talking specifically about the first four movies, they're pretty high up, and then there's a pretty significant drop off to the remake and the Bates Motel. But overall, I really love this franchise. I hope you guys enjoyed this the month of June horror franchise review I did of this Psycho franchise and wrapping it up here. Yeah, go ahead and comment down below. Let me know what your order is for ranking these movies, these six movies, or the top four if you've only seen those, and the remake if you want. Um, Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please like this video and hit the little notification bell down below so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss my great horror content that I have coming up. And no sooner than the month of July here, in the next couple of days, you're going to see some really fun and amazing things that I'm really excited about drop here. I'll be having an intro video and a sort of an update video for that in the next couple of days. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But wrapping up the Psycho franchise, Anthony Perkins is one of the great horror. I mean, his character is one of the great horror icons. He gives one of the great performances in horror history, and good writing, good music and scores, and just really good, entertaining horror movies. That's what I would have to say about this franchise. So, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay scared and have a good day. Bye.